This week on Tech Trends, it's all about creativity and innovation. First, we show you the kickoff of the 2023-2024 First Lego League National Challenge in Robotics, Coding and Artificial Intelligence in Abuja. And this is to foster the next wave of innovators and programmers. And then we have the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, commissioning the American Corner in Lekki. The innovative and tech-enabled American space in Lagos is aimed at supporting youth innovation, entrepreneurship, and creativity in Nigeria. I'll also be talking to Oyin Sholebo, the Managing Director at ARM Labs Lagos Techstars Accelerator, to get her views on investment opportunities for African startups. Glad to have you join us on this week's episode of the program, and we do have an interesting lineup for you. So sit back and enjoy the ride for the next 25 minutes of tech. I'm Olayemi Otunuga.
Advances in automation, artificial intelligence, and robotics, while increasing productivity, will also cause major upheavals to the workforce.
In a bid to nurture the next generation of innovators and coders, as well as boost students' educational opportunities in artificial intelligence, the federal government has launched the 2023-2024 First Lego League National Challenge in Robotics, Coding and Artificial Intelligence for students. The theme of this year's challenge is Masterpiece, and winners at the competition will represent Nigeria in the US, Australia, Norway, and Brazil.
It's that exciting time of the year when young minds ignite their passion for innovation, engineering, and architecture through the First Lego League National Challenge in Robotics, Coding, and Artificial Intelligence. At the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja, the nation's capital, students from over 50 schools are present to participate in the tournament. And they are poised to showcase their innovative ideas and technical abilities. Representing the Minister of Education, the Director of Technology and Science Education Department, Dr. Muibat Olodo, says events like the First Lego League competition serve as a testament to their commitment to fostering innovation.
It is in the landscape of modern education where the demands on our students are ever evolving. Events like the First Lego League play a pivotal role in our society. They serve as a testament to our commitment to fostering creativity, critical thinking, innovation, technological and digital literacy among our youths. As we witness these ingenious solutions presented by the different teams today, it is a reminder that our education system is evolving, keeping pace with the dynamic needs of the 21st century. The integration of robotics education into our curriculum not only enriches our students' academic experience, but also equips them with the skills necessary to thrive in a world that is becoming increasingly digital.
By being a part of the First Lego League, participants gain real-world problem-solving experiences through a guided global robotics program.
The true essence of this competition is collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, fun, teamwork, inclusion, discovery, innovation, and the unwavering pursuit of solutions. This is not just a competition, but it is a celebration of the limitless potential that resides within each and every one of you.
The theme for the 2023-2024 robotics season is Masterpiece, and it gives students a chance to imagine and innovate new ways to create and communicate art across the globe. 7, 6, 5. They engage in the construction and programming of robots using Lego, tackling specific challenges and tasks on a designated playing field. The Lego robotics competition is not just about building robots. It's a holistic experience that provides a platform for creativity and hands-on exploration in the realms of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Winners from the tournament will have an opportunity to represent Nigeria in the US, Australia, Norway, and Brazil. The top 3 teams will also benefit from a scholarship scheme for their tertiary education.
The United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has commissioned the American Corner in the Lekki area of Lagos State. The American space is the 26th in Nigeria, and it is aimed at supporting youth innovation, entrepreneurship, and creativity in the country.
This is the American Corner Lekki, the newest and 26th American space in Nigeria. It is also a space being shared with one of Africa's most innovative incubators as part of a commitment to help drive digital transformation across the continent. And to commission this newest addition to the United States Global American Spaces Network is the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who is welcomed by the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani. But first, Secretary Blinken meets with 3 tech entrepreneurs and chats with them about their innovations.
So fraud is a very big thing in the finance sector. Businesses are losing billions of dollars annually. So with Orthogon technology, businesses can combat fraud at a very, very efficient manner and achieve high accuracy models in few seconds. So yes, so this is what we are doing in Orthogon AI. So not just the finance space, in the health space, you can see this is a chest X-ray detecting tuberculosis if it's active or non-active, and it has a very great accuracy. This is cervical fraction detection, and to build this is just 3 steps. So businesses aside ourselves can just upload images and they annotate, select those region of interest where those issues they're trying to detect are, and they just click on train.
Well, it's a really powerful thing, because one of the things that we've all been working on is to make sure that we take the lessons from COVID-19, from the experience that everyone around the world had, to make sure that next time we're better prepared.
Yes.
And we're ready. And what you're doing, of course, is already having immediate impacts, even irrespective of a pandemic. But it also means that our overall health security system is going to be stronger here in Nigeria and around the world.
Over 90% of dealerships in Africa are just very unstructured. So what we've done at the back end, we've created a lot of infrastructure for these dealers to support them. But on the front end, what it means is that anyone can now interact easier. And this is the introduction of Sherlock. So Sherlock is your digital assistant to interact better with this mobility space. So for example, on your mobile, what you can do is ask Sherlock, right? So anything you want can have. For now, there are few use cases, such as I want to buy a car, right? When you ask Sherlock, it's just going to ask you some prompts, and you interact. Okay, what kind of car do you want? Then just something interactive, as simple as a chat. You can find your next car.
This is commercialized? It's actually up and running?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So how many people have you had used the platform?
Great question, sir. So over 10,000 people have been able to use our platform to find their cars. And the value of transactions we process over $100 million now.
And so you have dealers feeding information into the platform, so people know what the inventory that's available.
Absolutely.
And then the program, the algorithm finds the So I really wish I'd had this when I was buying a car. Would have been very, very helpful.
We'd love to.
So Enlightened VR is a virtual reality classroom where teachers and students can connect wherever they are. Meaning, even though you have issues with flooding or rainfall and then you can't go to school, you can easily connect, and it's a VR headset. So I made it more accessible to people from an underserved community like mine, meaning you can also join through your mobile phone. So this is the classroom. I'm currently in the teacher mode. I'm in teacher's view, as you can see my hand. And in front, I have a board. So look this. If I pick a pen, this marker, and I scramble something here, I have it display on the board. Meaning, if students join from wherever they are all over the world, as a teacher, I'm going to be teaching them
just like in the normal classroom. But believe, they are not in my class, they are at home. But basically, they are also learning in the virtual reality space. And also, if the student, so I'm just gonna come to this, and then I'm gonna write something. So it also works with voice, meaning I can easily interact with students. I would have loved to join other people in my classroom because basically I'm under the testing mode, meaning I'm currently upgrading it, checking to add other things like probably making it have slides instead of teacher writing every time. The teacher can just display slides. So the future plan for my project, for my initiative, is to have it being able to like have slideshow in the classroom, and also for everyone in Africa, all over the world, to have this in the school. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, where are you in the development of this? This is a sort of pilot or test of it, or have you already started to?
Already started.
Really?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And how many students have you actually had, or classrooms, virtual classrooms use this? Okay,
so far so good. I had over 50, and I used that in my company, in my organization, during when we were having a class setting, but the students weren't able to come because most of them live in the internal of Alimosho, so they were like flooding. So we tested it from the hub, and then we also at the hub we teach tech skills. So basically we use this to like show them that this is what as an extra developer you can use this to do this. So basically I thought about it's occupied over 50 students in 2 batches. So that's like 100 in total.
Thank you for sharing
that. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Titi.
Mr. Blinken speaks highly of the partnership between Nigeria and the United States. He believes the corner will further fuel tech innovation.
It takes a village of government, of the private sector, of entrepreneurs to build the infrastructure, to promote a supportive regulatory environment, to invest in skills, maybe the most essential thing of all, particularly for women and for young people. Here, courses on everything from learning how to code to how to write a business plan will be offered. And by the way, I should probably sign up for the coding course. Video recording, podcast studios, access to robotics equipment, 3D printing. This understanding of innovation and understanding that innovation is amplified by connection that you all represent is central to so much of what we're doing. We have something we recently established with all of the countries bordering on the Atlantic, the Partnership for Atlantic Cooperation. 36 coastal Atlantic countries, including the United States, including Nigeria, working together to promote stable, sustainable, prosperous Atlantic region.
Mr. Blinken then officially opens the American corner at Lekki. The goal of the space is to encourage entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity in Nigeria.
Come over here. Here's another photo op over here.
When we talk about the African startup ecosystem, it's a bit difficult not to mention funding, which has long been a major challenge for startups. Although reports indicate an increased interest from investors in Africa, recent data from Africa, the Big Deal, reveals a noteworthy setback, because in 2023, there was a substantial 39% year-on-year decline in funding. So, what factors come to play when assessing the potential investment opportunities in startups? Oyinsolebo, the managing director at ARM Labs, Lagos Techstars Accelerator, shares insightful perspectives on this. Tell me, Oyin, what are your thoughts on the venture capital landscape in Africa? I mean, what has changed in the past decade?
Sure. So venture capital, that is the funding of high growth startups, I think is a vital part of the development of our tech ecosystem, but it's been on a roller coaster ride over the past decade. So in the last 10 years, we've seen VC funding go from practically nothing to $4 billion in capital last year. We've also seen the emergence of the big 4 recipients of VC funding, so Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt. And we saw the rise of the unicorn, that $1 billion valued company, mostly in Nigeria and mostly in fintech. We've seen more money come in from institutional VCs, but also from corporates, also from local investors, and also from accelerators. But the last year or couple of years have been quite challenging for VC and for startups, not just in Africa, but for the entire world. So we've seen a couple of geopolitical crises. We've seen interest rates at record highs, which has meant that the cost of capital is higher. And there's just been a lot of uncertainty. So ultimately, what we've seen is the amount of capital going into Africa reduced by somewhere between 20 to 40% last year, depending on which report you read. And there's now this acceptance that with all of the money that was previously flowing in, valuations were overinflated. So we're now seeing a reset in the valuation of startups, how much they're valued, particularly for those growth stage, those startups that are further along. We've unfortunately seen a number of startups make layoffs, and we've also seen a few of them close. But going forward, I'm still really excited about the VC landscape and about the tech ecosystem at large. We are already seeing more institutional VC money coming in and also more corporate interest coming in. And I think there's been a shift towards a healthier view of startups, where previously there was this idea that they should achieve rapid growth at all costs and focus on revenue rather than profits. But I think we're seeing more of a focus on business fundamentals, sustainability, businesses generating cash in a sustainable way and achieving profit rather than just revenue. So it's been a roller coaster ride. It's not been without its drama and challenges, but I'm still very positive about the landscape.
And from your experience working in the VC space and, of course, with startups, what factors do venture capitalists consider when evaluating potential investment opportunities in startups?
I think the two most important factors we look at are team and market, but we also consider the product itself and traction. So what do I mean by this? By team, venture capitalists will be looking at founder market fit. So are the founders uniquely positioned to succeed? Do they perhaps have specific domain or industry experience? Have they been a founder before, so they understand the journey? Do they have some kind of unique insight into the customer? But also, do they have grit and an execution bias? Because it is not easy being a startup founder. The second thing I mentioned was market. So we're looking at, are these companies operating in a market that is big and that is growing and where the timing makes sense? We're also looking at the economics of that market. So is it a market where the company can make good margins, where there are good profitable prospects, and where the cost of them acquiring a customer is far lower than the revenue that they can generate from that customer? And then I mentioned traction. And if you'd asked me this question a few years ago, traction would have been less important for really early stage investors, but it's becoming increasingly important because of this funding winter that we've seen. So we're typically looking for startups that can show that customers actually value and are willing to pay for what is being built, and looking for signs of accelerating demand and retention. So customers are coming back again and again to buy this product or service. And then it's the product itself. So are the founders building something that is better than the alternatives that exist in the market? So those are typically the four things that a VC is looking at.
But before these VCs make an investment decision, how do they assess the scalability and growth potential of a startup they are looking to invest in?
Yeah, so I think every VC will be different, but I think we will typically look at three key things. So the market size, the unit economics, and the use of technology. So when I'm saying market size, I mean that there will be some kind of calculation which estimates how much money that business can make. And some businesses look really attractive until you realize that they can't make enough money to make them what we call venture backable, perhaps because the price of that service or the product is too low, or perhaps because it's unrealistic to assume that they will get enough customers to really reach a large market size. And then we're looking at the unit economics. So by that, I mean, we're looking at the contribution margin. So how much money is left after each sale of a product or service after you've considered the variable costs associated with that? Yeah, so what is that margin? How much is that company keeping after the variable costs? And then also, how much does it cost to acquire a customer versus how much does it cost? What is the revenue that you can generate from that customer? So what is that ratio like? The more money you can generate from a customer at a lower acquisition cost, the better. And then the third element is the use of technology. So technology is an incredible tool, especially on the African continent, for achieving scale, because it allows companies to find more efficient ways to serve their customer, i.e. reduce their costs, and more ways of reaching their customer, i.e. making more money. So we're looking at how they're using technology to observe that, and also how complex is that technology? Is that company perhaps using technology in a way that they are creating a strong moat or this shield of defensibility that gives the company a lot of defensibility against its potential competitors?
Now, let's talk about exits. How do venture capitalists typically exit their investments, and what are the most common exit strategies they employ?
VCs will typically try to exit their investment, so basically try and get some money, their money back from that investment in one of three ways. So IPOs, mergers and acquisitions, or a secondary sale. So an IPO, this is an initial public offering, which is when the company goes to a public exchange. So for example, Jumia did this some years ago, listing in New York, and more recently, VFD, the investment firm, did it via the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And in fact, the Nigerian Exchange Group is really trying to encourage more startups to list on their specialized technology board as a way of investors liquidating their investment. But it's still early days. The second way is mergers and acquisition. And this is the way that we typically hear about the most. So this is when one company buys another company. So for example, this is how investors in Paystack exited, because Paystack, the Nigerian fintech, was acquired by Stripe. And then the third way, which is less commonly spoken about, but actually happens, is through secondaries. So what that means is that one investor is buying that stake in the company or part of that stake in the company from another investor. And the reason this happens is because different investors have different risk return profiles. One investor might invest really early on and they want to get 7 to 10 times their capital back. And another investor might just be happy with 2 times their capital back. So in reality, IPOs is a route, but it's still very nascent in VC in Africa, as is, the VC and tech landscape at large. So when exits typically happen in Africa, they're mostly M&As, which are publicized, or they are secondaries, which are we're less likely to hear about it, but it does happen.
But recent reports show that there's been a decline in African startup funding. But like you mentioned earlier, Techstars remains one of the most active investors. So tell me, how does the mentorship and company building support you provide contribute to the overall development and success of startups that enroll in the accelerator program?
It's a great question, because I think to really support a startup to succeed, you have to, especially in this challenging market, provide them with more than capital. So Techstars, we provide them with this magic formula of capital plus a curated learning program plus community. And that community, that mentorship part that you've spoken about, happens in program, where we curate mentors specific to the companies that are in each cohort and introduce them to the startups, provide them with knowledge and expertise and guidance during the program, but also afterwards. But beyond that, the mentorship continues. So our founders are part of Techstars for life. So they get access to this global community of thousands of mentors, plus investors, plus other founders who are all there to provide them with advice and guidance and referrals to help them build sustainable businesses. And the data shows that it's working. So 74% of Techstars companies raise follow-on capital within 3 years, which is more than any other global accelerator. And 31% of Techstars companies exit within 8 years, again, which is more than any other global accelerator. So that mentorship-led model at Techstars is really key to helping those startups build sustainable businesses.
Well, thank you so much, Oyi Sholebo, for sharing your perspectives on tech trends. And of course, well done for the work you're doing with African startups.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the work you do in promoting all of the work that we're doing in the tech ecosystem.
And it's a wrap on the show this week. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you are interested in keeping track of how tech-savvy innovators are crafting homegrown solutions using technology in the country, well, keep watching Tech Trends because we will continue to showcase them for you, from startups to big techs and, of course, eventful thinkers. Also, if you missed any parts of the show, you can always catch up on the Channels TV YouTube accounts where we have all of our episodes, and I encourage you to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Odunuga. Bye for now.